Good evening, race fans, and we welcome you to the third and final round, race number 5 of the Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup. Tonight's action is coming to you straight from the virtual Clark Speedway. There's going to be a lot of interesting incidents tonight. There's going to be a lot of action as well. My name is JP Tuason, and I am the CEO and racing director for Tuason Racing. And with me tonight is my co-host. He is a media personality. He's a photographer. He's a columnist from the PDI, and he is also an esports gamer. Let's welcome Mr. Miko David. Come on down, Meeks.
Hey, good evening, JP, and good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to this coverage of the Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Challenge. And very exciting race for you for sure tonight, as we watch all these guys, experts, racers, even e-gamers, all compete in this homegrown E-Series. And now it is going to be their third and final round in the PC-based game.
Okay, so Meeks, you've actually played the game, right? You've raced online this year.
Yeah.
How has online racing been different from racing in the real world?
You know, there are similarities, but JP, the real thing here is a different kind of feeling because you don't have the senses of your behind telling you where the car is going. It's all about vision, your hearing, and then the reaction of your steering wheel. So it is very different level of skill that's required to have these e-gamers excel here. But of course, e-gamers and racers, they all have the same spirit, all same blood. They all want to compete and they all want to win.
And we're going to see a lot of that tonight because there's going to be some actual race car drivers racing tonight versus these pro esports gamers.
Exactly, yes. It's going to be an action-packed 2 races that we have tonight. And I want you guys to keep an eye on everyone because it's going to be very tight at the start for sure.
Okay, so with the quarantine restrictions brought about by the pandemic, Tuason Racing has partnered with Phoenix Petroleum Philippines to bring this homegrown sports program into the virtual arena. Now, we're going to let you guys watch the racing action from the comfort and safety of your homes through the Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup. Racing enthusiasts may pursue their racing career on the path of motorsports competition by using this homegrown racing program. And our races consist of both professional and amateur race car drivers who are really eager to take the motorsports on the virtual road to the next level. So let's catch these guys in the races.
That's right, JP. And this is a very interesting race we have here because professionals and e-gamers alike are going to be competing in this very homegrown and very native race that we have now. The only Formula series that we have in the country today, and now it's in virtual. So watch these clips.
Okay, so 2 years ago, Tuason Racing launched its Formula V1 series, the actual race series that was at the actual racetracks. And this became the country's only Formula car program that is being participated by both Filipino and international racers. Now, the winners, by the time they finished the series, they were able to compete internationally at the Suzuka circuit and also the Fuji Speedway in Japan. So the idea really for this series is to elevate the local drivers and get them ready to participate on the global arena. So with the suspension of sports activities in the country due to the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic, we're now holding this homegrown racing series in the virtual arena.
And to make this racing more exciting, Tuasan Racing and our friends from Phoenix Petroleum Philippines also launched the Formula V1 Fantasy League. This league gives the non-gaming race fans a chance to be part of the racing action. So each participant of the Formula V1 Fantasy League may own a race team by choosing 3 drivers from AM and Pro Class and FV1 Virtual Cup teams. Participants may gain points from their chosen driver's performance and playing in weekly games. Earned points during the Fantasy League may be exchanged with exciting rewards provided by our sponsors, Phoenix Petroleum Philippines, LG Philippines, Bendix, Blue Chem, Top Tool, and PC Express. The Formula V1 Fantasy League will be having 5 winners in every leg, and we will have top 3 overall season winners at the same time. So if you haven't joined the Fantasy League yet, this is now your last chance to register and win exciting prizes. So apart from redeeming exciting rewards, the points earned in Formula V1 Fantasy League can also be used as a donation to those who are affected by Typhoon Ulysses.
So as of this moment, we are already at almost 350 members for the Formula V1 Fantasy League. And these guys are continuously earning points by participating in the challenges, watching the races, and through their driver's performance. So we invite all of you guys to join the Fantasy League and get exciting rewards. So get a chance to win prizes in the weekly raffle promo of Tuasan Racing. So how do you do that? Well, number 1, simply like the Tuasan Racing fan page. Number 2, join and sign up on the Formula V1 Fantasy League. And of course, number 3, tag 5 of your friends on the comment section of the raffle poster, which we present every week. The weekly raffle will have 1 grand winner with items from PC Express, and of course 2 winners with consolation prizes from Phoenix Petroleum Philippines.
As part of Tuasan Racing's CSR efforts, the motorsports community will be lending a hand to Mabuhay Deseret Foundation. Located in Cubao, Quezon City, this foundation has provided thousands of free and subsidized operations every year to correct medical conditions such as cataracts, crossed eyes, cleft lip and palate, burn contractions, post-polio, and club feet for the poor. Donation update: after the first and second round of Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup, we were able to raise 100,000 pesos. So we would like to thank you all for having a big heart and lending a hand for Mabuhay Deseret. Let's continue raising our fund by sending your donations on the organization's bank account details flashed on the screen.
So another important announcement as well is we would like to invite everybody out there watching to one of the most anticipated motoring and driving events in the country. Our friends from the Manila International Auto Show, MIAS, will be launching their MIAS Wired. And this is going to be on December 16 to 20, 2020. And it's going to be a shift to an online platform, which will serve as a really exciting event for car enthusiasts amid the pandemic. So the guys that missed the car show at the beginning of the year because of the lockdown are now going to get to see it, but now in the virtual world. So the final round of the Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup will also be broadcast on the MIAS website. So check out our final race, Race 6, at the MIAS website. So make sure to check it out. And of course, to know more about MIAS Wired and to register for free, visit www.manilaauto.show.com. Meeks, are you going to come and see the auto show this year?
For sure. We've been missing a lot of car shows really this year because of the pandemic. And it's really nice to have this event just to, give us our fix for cars, right?
I know. And, whenever I see you at the car show, you're taking photos of the models.
Yeah.
Maybe the car models or maybe the lady models. I don't know. One of the two.
No, it was all cars. All cars.
It's all cars. Okay, nga pala. Sorry. All right, so watch out for that, you guys. And again, it's www.manilaauto.show.com. We'll see you guys there. All right, so a total of 55 racers are battling for the amateur and pro crowns for race 5. We're going to see these racers closely competing to reach the final race in the Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup. Who do you guys think will make it? Let's check it out. Okay, so we had 32 amateur drivers qualify for the leaderboard and into the QTT session. So let's check out the list of guys and how they did in qualifying.
Okay, so on P1 pole position, we have Julian Colvin Tang. And in P2, just beside him is Jether Miole. P3 has Andre Varquez. P4 has Patrick Maliksi. And P5 has Aldo Balagulan.
Okay, so that's a really exciting grid for the start of the AM class race. Those are all the really fast guys. And I think from what we've seen in the past races, there's going to be a lot of action between those racers. Okay, so before we get started, Meeks, I think there's some raffles that we got to do.
Right, and we want to keep things interesting and exciting for you guys. So we will be raffling off items from Blue Chem, Bendix, and Parts Pro. So the question for this race's raffle game is, what is the score multiplier for round 3? So again, what is the score multiplier for round 3? So type your answers on the comments section, and two winners of this raffle game will be announced on Tuason Racing's page. I'm just reminding everyone that Phoenix Petroleum is also doing a raffle promo, so make sure to stay with us throughout this coverage. Users need to watch the Race 5, which is happening now, of Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup. And after this broadcast, you need to answer this question that will be posted on the Phoenix Fuels Facebook fan page. So that's a mouthful. But here's the question. So please remember this question, okay? Number 1, first question. Who is the new racer of Phoenix Pulse Racing Team? So who is the new racer for Phoenix Pulse Racing Team? And number 2, what is the fastest lap time? The fastest lap time set in the AM and Pro class races for race 5. The fastest lap time for both races. So lucky 15 individuals who will answer the question right will get 200 pesos Phoenix fuel voucher via the Limitless app and 300 Limitless points. So winners will also be automatically earning an e-raffle entry and a chance to win a Nintendo Switch version 2.
Wow.
Can you join?
We
I wish you
should.
could join. Yeah, aside from that Nintendo Switch version 2, we'll also have a Fitbit Versa 2 and a 10,000 peso Phoenix fuel voucher via the Limitless app. Phoenix lubricants and Phoenix Racing merchandise are also online right now. So winners will be drawn towards the end of Formula V1 Virtual Cup racing season.
Okay, so stay tuned to our race broadcast and let the races begin.
All right.
Okay, so we are here at the race 5 of the Phoenix Formula V1 Virtual Cup. So let's try to get the races on screen. There we go.
24 drivers on the grid right now, Japes. And you're in the Clark International Speedway, the virtual version of it.
I know, right? It's crazy to see it online like this. We want to thank Ted. This is Ted's Clark International Speedway. So he's the developer. He's a friend of ours coming out of the US. And for this race, we're going to be having 8 laps. So it's an 8-lap race from start to finish.
Yeah, and you can see one of our drivers really just preparing and waiting for the red lights to come on. Of course, once the red lights go off, that's the start of the race. So meanwhile, the 24 drivers are now waiting for that moment to get this race going. Round 5 of the Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup. Red lights are on. Here we go. Revs up. Waiting for them to come out. And that's a long way. No, one of their jumpers right there. There's a start.
Whoa, okay.
Jump to start right there, but it's a good one. A good takeoff by the front runners right now. All the way, making their way now into the first corner. Really side by side.
Julian Tang.
Yeah, and one of those guys.
Oh!
Yeah, from the back. You see the P5 guy and Melee right here. Wow. The guys are really finding their way out of that mess. But definitely, if it were in a real race, that would have been a red flag. But this time, of course, in a virtual race, JP, and still ongoing at the back of that corkscrew.
There are cars everywhere.
Yes, cars are everywhere, and they're really having a hard time negotiating it. But meanwhile, we have Aldo Balaguan now on the lead of this race.
That's right. And mayhem from lap 1 was all about Patrick Baliksi, who has dive bomb.
Dive bomb from the back, from the mid-pack. You can see there were 5 cars really almost side by side coming to turn 1. But meanwhile, we're now back with Aldo Balaguan, and he's still leading this race. Again, here at the back. Oh, one more contact right there. Oh boy.
Yeah, who was that?
Yeah, well, looks like it was one of those cars that number P3, was it? Aldo Balaguan still in the lead, but though meanwhile Jalan Calamdo is trying to catch up in battle for 6th place, going after Real Lerpido. So there's Jalan, an AAP MSDP veteran, of course, trying to make use of all his skills right here in the virtual world, going out of the loop. So a Formula B1 car, really handful right now, even in the virtual setting, as he goes into the sweeper, going into the chicane.
Okay, so at the moment, Andre Varquez was able to capitalize on the spin that Julian Tang was in.
And Jalan right there. Yeah.
Yep.
That
spin the advantage in the championship.
Yep, and definitely that's going to affect everyone's case right now. Although, good thing for Aldo Balaguan right now, he's building up a small gap over the guys behind him in the battle for P2. As James Viado and Andre Varquez try to catch up with him. So a good clean run so far for Aldo. Managed to escape and managed to get away from all that mess in the first lap.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind that Aldo is actually 3rd in the championship. So he has actually a chance to get a lot of points in this race and possibly take the win.
Yep, and as we go now into this battle for 2nd place, heating up, Andre Varquez trying to find a way past James Viado. Of course, this is going to be a very difficult one because Andre, though he is one of the front runners in the series right now, he needs to catch up with Aldo just to earn some more points. Remember, this is a ×2 weekend right now for points earning.
Yeah, and we've seen how the ×2 points really makes a difference in the championship.
Yeah.
Now you have to keep in mind that these guys not only are trying to score the most amount of points, but they also need to strategize because there will be a reverse grid for the next race. So they don't want to score so many points now, but then be all the way in the back, right, for the next race.
And this action, for sure, JP, this action in battle for P2 is heating up. We have a mistake there earlier as they exited and went straight through the chicane right there, though. And there goes Andre Varquez, now finally getting P2. So compounding of mistakes right there for James Viado. 2 mistakes allowed Varquez to catch up with him and now take on P2.
You know, it's interesting to see that mistake because I've actually seen somebody do that in real life.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. So it's one of those things that virtual and reality really come together in the real world and make sure that this action, this racing, is as real as it gets. Oh, contact right there. And Josh Ricardo, is it? And JP Santillan, are these 2 guys are on the back of the pack, but still the action is really hot.
Yeah, and it's allowed Gabby De La Merced to come through.
And Gabby De La Merced, of course, yes.
Positions. We're now riding with Gabby De La Merced, and she is right behind Rian Ramos.
Oh,
so we've got some real racers there battling. And
for sure.
We can see a video right now of Gabby, and her hair is colored green. What is that? Aqua.
Blue green. Aqua.
Matching her car.
Cool, Gabby. And of course, you know the experience of Gabby De La Merced as she tries to catch up with Rian Ramos, really breaking late right there. Rian tiptoeing into turn 1. So Rian now in trouble because Gabby De La Merced is all over behind her, and she's gonna drive on the inside line of this corkscrew.
Yeah.
Wow. So Gabby De La Merced experience right there paying off as Rian still just behind Gabby. This time now they're side by side at the exit, going into the contact right there. Though. Gabby De La Merced, wow, all of us into the grass. And again, Rian Ramos now out into the scenery.
Off she goes.
Two contacts between Rian Ramos and Gabby De La Merced And Rian just lost it already. Then you can see her, though she went out of the track, she's still having fun. So that's a good spirit right here in the Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup. Rian Ramos, of course, great sport.
I think it's good that we can't hear what she's saying.
Yeah, yeah, but for sure, the JP that's gonna be
looked at by the stewards.
yeah, you can see her. You can see her smiling right there, and all over in the grass, still trying to push forward and trying to catch up. Nevertheless, so Rian Ramos, a good sport right here. Her experience, of course, in Vios Cup and even in the racing Volkswagen Beetles they're all paying off right now for this celebrity racer.
That's right.
Okay, so it was a very durable contact between her and Gabby de la Merced, but Gabby now is able to pull off, and right now I think Rian's having car issues. She's not really accelerating that much. And meanwhile, we're transferring now to Julian Colvin. So Colvin chasing after, or at least we have now Advan Ramirez in front of Julian Colvin. So this is a good race, and although the gaps are quite big right this time, you can see they're all concentrating, and you can see all of them trying to keep the cars into the black stuff.
So, what do you think of this virtual Clark?
Well, it is very, very real, as you know, but of course you don't feel the bumps, you don't feel the heat, and that's one of those are two of the things that affect your races, right? So you can race now in the comfort of your living rooms, in your air-conditioned rooms, but the real thing is a little bit different on the senses, a little bit harsh on the senses.
All right, so Julian is now in P9.
Yep.
And he needs to keep up with the guys in front. He needs to make a lot of passes to keep his championship hopes alive.
True, and that number 18, Luis Gambong, chasing John Ramos right now. So Gambong is going through what happened? He went off.
He just overshot. He tried to take it on the inside, but was braking too late.
Yeah, he's really all over the track right now. He's trying to keep it on the asphalt, but he's struggling. So Luis Gambong, well, he was trying to overtake Ramos right there, but he overshot it.
So into this chicane, and and I know, coming into that chicane, you got to be a bit careful of the bumps. Too much curb, and you just jump the car.
You lose control, yeah.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
For sure. We're in car now with Jether Miole. So Jether is trying to catch up in the battle for 6th place with Vial Lerpido. So these guys are now making their way into the hairpin just after the corkscrew right now, breaking in and closing in on the brakes. We have Jether trying to cut that gap between himself. So let's see how Lerpido turns in and tries to defend his line. Oh, contact right there. Okay, so Lerpido and Miole. Lerpido turned in while Miole was trying to make that overtaking move.
Yeah, so misjudgment by one of the drivers there. And what's interesting to note is Jether and Riel are both AM-class front runners. Both of them have been on the podium before, and they're pushing really, really hard to do well in this race. Unfortunately, they're pushing a bit too hard. Agree.
Yeah, too hard. So as they try to negotiate that second half of the track, so we are now in car with Advan Ramirez. So sensing an opportunity as he tries to catch up with Jether. So Advan taking advantage of that incident earlier, now closing the gap in car with him. So inside the virtual cockpit right now of a Formula V1 Virtual Cup car. You can see the battle in front though, just in front of him, battle for 7th and 6th. Really close right now as they go through the last corner. So it's a sweeping left-hander. Some cars taking 3rd, some cars taking 4th, and you wait for, taking up all the track right there as well. So the guys wait up to 8,000 or so RPM before shifting to 5th gear. But if you look really far ahead, there's that battle now in front. Now you can see two cars neck and neck, nose to tail right now as they go up the loop and into the corkscrew. So who's gonna go in ahead and first Let's see, as we go down to turn 1, Serpido. Yep, Serpido. We have a great battle developing there just ahead of him. So Julian Colvin still in car with him. And we have Jether Miolin now. And again, braking. This is where these two guys ahead of our battle in the battle for 6th place is heating up. Oh, we have a spinner.
Oh.
Yeah, he just lost it. He just lost at the rear end. Just full on throttle right there, and the back end just let go. So too bad. In car now with Janelli Cruz. So we have a good race so far in the battle for 5th and 4th. The lap times, you can see Janelli is doing 201s and James is 202s. If this is going to continue, Janelli is going to cut that lead. We are looking at the battle for 5th, and right now just 2.0 seconds separating Cruz, and we have in front of him James Katbatayan. Yeah, that's right. So Janelli and James Gatlabayan are now trying to negotiate the chicane. Let's see how it turns out for them. You can see one of those cars jumping the chicane and closing in. So one of the cars, it's a very interesting race at the mid-pack, but we are now going back to Aldo Balaguan, the P1 pole sitter. Now in this race,
behind him is Andre Varquez.
So Andre now cutting that lead in a very quick succession right now, trying to make a move on the inside of the corkscrew. But Aldo making that Formula V1 the widest in the business, trying to get him out in front and stay in front as the hard-charging Andre Varquez tries to make a move into that section right there.
Now we're on lap 7 of 8, so there's about a lap and a half to go. So let's see if Andre can convert this into a win.
Yes, and this is about, well, as you said, a lap and a half. So all stops are here. Andre Varquez is really going to have to do everything that he can to force Aldo into a mistake. Try to keep the pressure on Aldo, hoping that these kinds of mistakes happen, and Andre is ready to pounce as we approach the Acacia hard-braking light now.
We can see that there's quite a defensive move right there by Aldo.
Yeah, so Aldo knows Andre is just behind him right now, so he has to be in the middle of the track just to fend off the charges of Andre. So Aldo, of course, if he does that, he's going to be slowing himself down, JP.
That's right. And it's all good right now, but we're about to enter the last set of turns leading into the main straight. And that's where Aldo could be in trouble.
Yep. So a second gear section right here, the double apex. This is the second to the last section corners right now as they make their way into another lap. The final lap is about to start. This is the last turn from the Clark International Speedway, and Andre still just behind. So we have a slipstream right here. Can we expect Andre to close in and cut that lead?
I don't know. He's quite a bit of ways. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it.
Yep. But of course, you can brake really hard and late right now, as Andre demonstrated right there. And Aldo, of course, being very, very cautious right now. He doesn't want to make a mistake.
You can see him staying in the middle of the road, keeping that door closed.
Yes, and Aldo trying to rely on the experience right now and hoping to fend off the charging Andre Varquez. So Andre, of course, the advantage, if you're at the back, you can really force the guy in front into a mistake, and then just making your presence felt, making your car visible in the front guy's mirrors. All of these tactics are now being employed by Varquez.
Yeah, he's really trying to pressure Aldo, and really, if you look at the last lap, they were only separated by 0.1 of a second. So Andre pushing very, very hard, because if he can win this round, then he will have a lot of points coming into the last race.
And really braking hard right there.
Oh!
Yeah, he lost it. Well, at least he outbraked himself, basically, coming out of Acacia. But you see Aldo trying to concentrate right now and still charging is Andre Varquez, not giving up. 0.4 of a second difference right now as they approach the last few corners of this race in the last lap into the chicane right now. Slowly through is Aldo, making sure he gets all the apexes. And of course, Andre Vargas, no more apex for him.
Andre from the outside.
Yes, again, going through. Oh, contact right there.
Contact.
Oh, Aldo, what happened to you? Andre is now ahead. Contact between Andre Marquez. Kind of pushed them off out of that corner. And now the last was Andre is in the lead. Oh, man. Wow, JP, it's going to be a very questionable move for sure.
That's right. You can see Aldo shaking his head right there. There was contact at the double apex, and race control says that incident is going to be investigated by the stewards.
You can see Aldo just parked it right there, dejected with that move by Andre Marquez.
Okay, so race control says Andre Varquez is going to be handed a 5-second penalty, and that's going to drop him down to P2. Okay, so fastest lap for that race was Andre Varquez with a 1:59.789. Man, that's quick.
Yep.
Even in real life.
For sure. Because we've seen the guys are doing 2 minutes, and this one is around 59. So.
That's right. That's a really quick lap. I think that's quick enough to be in the pro class.
True.
Okay, so again, we have our celebrity racers from the Phoenix Pulse Racing team. We want to congratulate Rian Ramos, who finished 22nd, and Gabby De La Merced, who finished 18th. Now, the two had a coming together, but luckily everybody was able to continue with that race.
And continue smiling. So
that's right.
Good visuals. And of course, we have our winners for this race. The champion for round 5 will be Aldo Balagulan of Racing Team Balagulan. And in second place, we have Andre Varquez of Ribbon Arc and Productive Motorsports. And in third place, James Emmanuel Viado of Sim Racing PH, Kotse Kotsehan.
All right, guys, come on down. There we go.
Hello, everyone.
Congratulations, you guys.
So that was an intense race, guys. JP, you know, it's very hard to defend from the top, so from in front, especially we have a fast guy like Andre. But let's ask Andre first. So Andre, it was a very close race between you and Aldo. You were closing in, you were cutting that gap. That incident in the last two corners, the double apex, what happened there?
So before that, in the first half of the race, I caught up in a crash on the first turn, like nothing new. I got caught up between, I do believe it was Jeter and Julian's collision for the first turn, and I bumped a little, and then I got to third. And then on the second lap, I now pushed myself to second, and then I had a really long gap between me and Aldo, so I really have to push myself to the limit to close the gap. And eventually on the second to the last lap, we were really closing. We were between each other's in the road, and Aldo was pushing himself. A big props to him from having big improvements from the first race till this round. So, and then on the last lap and then in the last corner, I tried to do a move, but I did it in a unruly manner. So, yeah, I pretty much deserved that penalty of mine. But it was really good racing from Aldo from his side.
Yeah, and then of course we'll have to ask also Aldo. Aldo, you were very cautious in the last couple of laps. You know the pressure from the back, from second place. You have Andre behind you. What were you thinking when Andre was kind of closing in? How do you want to defend that race? How do you want to defend that position?
Yeah, well, my start was completely different from his. Well, we started just side by side on the grid, and while he was unlucky, in his words, at the start, I managed to slip past the confusion and snatch first. And after the corkscrew, I was actually looking at the standings, and I saw him at third, and there was someone in between us, and I was low-key cheering that person in between to defend with his life. But eventually, I know Andre is very fast, and he can pretty much overtake anyone on the grid. So he managed to slip past that person and went to second. And for about 4 to 5 laps, I was constantly looking at the delta between us, and I could see that even trying to push as hard as I could, the gap was slowly going down and down and down. But I didn't want to push too hard and bin it, so I was just trying to be cautious as well. And during the last two laps, yeah, we caught up. We're less than a second from each other, and I was defending for my life there, to be
Yeah,
honest. And yeah, it was really fun. It was the best kind of race that I've had for a long time, and it was really fun until we got into contact at the last corner. I don't hold it against him because honestly, a real racer wouldn't settle for second place. But you know the rules, so do I. So yeah, uh, it's a really great race. Like he said, he also noticed that I've been improving a lot since the first race at Monza, and yeah, it's been a tough road, but here we are.
Right. All right. Congratulations, Aldo. That was a really hard fought race. But in third, James Viado, you finished in third. How was it? How's the feeling trying to see and catch up with the guys in front and still not being able to do so?
For me, it was okay because I know my pace wasn't fast enough for P1 or P2. So actually, at the first two laps or the first lap, Andre was very fast, so he pressured me, and I had a mistake at the last four corners. Yeah,
Yep.
and I outbrake myself and I let yeah, and yeah, for me P3 was very good. Uh, I was lucky I didn't get punched at the turn one lap. Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys, the three of you, managed to squeeze your way out of that one.
Okay, congratulations, guys. That was a very, very hard-fought race for first, second, and third. Super exciting all the way until the last corner of the last lap. Now, we wish you guys luck in the upcoming race 6, the last and final race for this season, and it ends at the Clark International Speedway with you guys in a reverse grid. All right, guys. See you.
All right. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and now we're back. So after qualifying for our pros, we have the following grid. There we go.
All right. So in P1, we have Luis Moreno. So very quick driver all the way through and all the races that he joined. And he's now going to start ahead of everyone else here in round 5. And then behind him or beside him, we have Estefano Rivera. So that's guy P2. And in P3, we have Inigo Anton, a veteran young racer, but still making waves here in the virtual world. And in P4, we have Russell Reyes. And finally, in P5, we have Terence Llaves. So Terence is, of course, a very experienced guy. So let's see if we can get some fireworks from him.
That's right. So Terence is actually the Supra Cup champion, right?
Yes.
For the Philippines. So he's got a lot of experience. And in the Supra Cup, coming into the final round, he was able to pull off the championship from Luis Moreno. Now,
yes.
Luis is going to be on pole position for this race. And as you said, he's going to be starting this race beside Estefano Rivera. And Estefano, for those of you guys out there, is a real race car driver. He was the 2019 Formula V1 champion in the pro class, right?
So
and he actually won the ride to drive at Suzuka, where he did such an impressive drive. So we've got real racing versus virtual.
Really missing the action right now, JPM, for sure. Because, you know, from transition from the real thing into the COVID-19 situation that we have, the virtual is just the way to go.
It is. It is. All right. So now we're about to get started with the races, and let's check out the action.
Okay, on the grid, we are looking forward to a great action right here at the Clark International Speedway once again. And as you can see, Inigo Anton now in set. Of course, he'll be starting right here in the second row, trying to catch up with the front runners, Luis Moreno in the blue and white car just in front of him. So a good start would definitely catapult Inigo in the right direction. We have the lights, the red lights are coming on, and we wait for them to come out for the start of this race. And we are revving, and there's a go. The race has started, and we are now side by side.
We've got a good start. The first two cars, and again in the middle there we have Estefano Rivera, and he's just been overtaken by Russell Reyes on the outside.
On the outside, Russell Reyes. Of course, Russell Reyes coming on from the back of the P1 and P2. Definitely a good start for him as he tries now to hold on to that spot. Inigo Anton still on board with him as he tries to find a way past Luis Moreno. So the top three guys are still battling it out. Some gap building up with Terence Sollave just behind Inigo Anton right now. Hard braking right now. Inigo Anton, can he make it stick though? And Luis pushes back. Yeah, so JP, that was like textbook maneuver there for Luis Moreno, trying to get back that action. But Inigo getting advantage, a bump there by Luis Moreno though. So what will that do to Inigo Anton's pace out of that hairpin? So still, Inigo though in second place.
Okay, so there was no advantage gained by Luis Moreno. I think the stewards are going to let that one go. But it's definitely adding to the pressure on Inigo Anton.
Yeah, and just behind them, Terence Sollave trying to find an opening. Any trip up, any mistake by these two guys, Inigo and Luis, is going to allow Terence to make his way through and up into the order. So again, still, we have Russell Reyes in the lead. A twitch there by Luis Moreno just coming out of the big loop. And now they feather their way into this right-hander and downshifting into the chicane. Trying to find a way, Terence Sollave though, over the bumps and over the chicane, trying to shortcut that one, but still, it's not going to be a clean one because Luis Moreno holding on to third place at the moment.
Okay, so again, we have Russell Reyes in front, and this is really playing into Russell's hands because Inigo Anton and Luis Moreno, by battling out like that, is helping Russell increase his lead. So as you can see, Russell is kind of just minding his own business, concentrating on the line that he's taking, and really just putting his head down and increasing his lead.
Yeah, trying to clean those lines through, but we want to look at the battle for second place as Inigo Anton, now 2 seconds behind Russell Reyes. So Russell is really building that lead though. And Inigo Anton has 2 cars behind him. Any one of them can take on second place. So here we go, Luis. Moreno once again, very close. Yep, indeed, and very close. Luis Moreno now trying to find a way. Was there contact right there? And Luis again on the inside line, closing into the hairpin again. So that one, for sure there was contact. And Terence Sollave, of course, Terence now trying to capitalize on that incident between Inigo Anton and Luis Moreno. Luis goes down to 4th.
Terence has definitely taken advantage. It's looking like the Super Cup all over again. But this time, Terence overshoots.
Yeah, overshoots the Acacia corner right there as Luis Moreno in the battle now for 6 and 7, Joriel Cruz versus Voltaire Psycho. So again, these guys in the mid-pack having their own little world right here as the battle heats up. We are on board with Voltaire Psycho now, just feathering his way through out of the big loop.
Okay, so we're on lap 2, and we can see Voltaire and Estefano Rivera, and a real quick recap for the points. Okay, so Estefano Rivera has...
Someone spun there. Someone spun there and lost positions. You can see one of the cars dropping down the order. Voltaire Psycho, I believe. One of the guys went down the order right there. Meanwhile, Estefano Rivera, before you give that race update, Estefano Rivera trying to chase after Joriel Cruz now. Rivera seems to have the momentum. Side by side now. but Rivera has the racing line, breaks a little bit later, and although we can see Joaquin Garrido, Stefano Rivera just back again with him, trying to control that car, the Formula V1, a handful into the corner, especially when you're braking and turning at the same time.
Okay, so Estefano now in 6th place, chasing down Joaquin Garrido, who is on the Phoenix Pulse Racing Team. Estefano overall has 44.5 points. Luis Moreno has 70 points in the series, and Inigo Anton is leading this series with 86.5 points. So those are our drivers to be watching.
Stefano Rivera now being pressured by Joriel Cruz. So Cruz and Rivera having their own little battle right here in the mid-pack. We are in car with Zuriel Sumodobila. This is P8, but the action really is the battle for 7th and 6th. So let's see how clean they can take this series of corners right now as we watch Zuriel make his way through the left-hander right there. And this is a very complicated part of the track because you really have to just make the most of your revs. It's a very, not exactly second gear, third gear, but somewhere in between. So the guys are really trying their best to figure out which ones to take and which gear to take in that particular corner.
Okay,
so still the battle, second place.
4th gear through that last corner.
Yeah,
so he's carrying a lot of speed.
And we are back here in the battle for the battle for first, battle for second. Luis Moreno now attacking Inigo Anton once again. So different lines right there. Let's see who's gonna get the advantage. Llave just falling back a bit, but definitely pressurizing Inigo Anton is Luis Moreno all over the back end again. Contact.
Oh, another contact.
And even Luis is not happy with that. You can see the very tight battle between Anton and Luis Moreno. And of course now Llave, very late braking and probably outbroke himself right there, Inigo Anton, allowing once again Luis Moreno to close in. Let's see if Llave can capitalize.
Yeah,
see
slight
most of
mistake
them
there from Inigo. That doesn't happen often. So let's see if Luis can capitalize on that. Reyes now with a 4-second gap in front. Looks like he's very comfortable with us being on the 4th out of 8 laps. So we're almost halfway through this race. And Luis really needs to finish ahead of Inigo to keep his championship hopes alive.
That's right. So all the while, the action is going on up and down the grid. We are now in car watching Gab Suñez as he tries to chase Voltaire's Psycho. So Psycho late braking right there, but Suñez cleanly through the Acacia corner, just taking up all the curves right there, turning into the left-hander again, the second gear corner. Well, over the grass, you can see the grass on top. That must have been Psycho. So Psycho lost it at the exit of the left-hander, and that puts, Paul Faustino was still in front of Gab Suñez. So again, that was a mistake right there that we were able to see just a little bit on the edge of our screens.
Okay, so we are now on board with Russell Cabrera, and he is in 8th place, again representing Team Phoenix Pulse.
Yes, and Russell Cabrera, the guys in front of him, the battle for 6 and 7, Joel Cruz and Stefano Rivera. So, Midobla. So, Joel Cruz and now has overtaken Zuriel. So, again, a change of position right here, just at the end of turn 1 as they make their way up the corkscrew.
Okay, so from race control, we have Joaquin Garrido as just DNF, unfortunately, because he was disconnected.
Okay.
On board now with Estefano Rivera, and he's chasing.
Very close battle here.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Before this happens, number 6, we have Joriel Cruz, and we have Zuriel Sumidobila. So, and of course, these two guys are now battling it out for the 5th spot. We are with Joriel Cruz this time around as Stefano Rivera tries to pull away from him. Behind Joriel though, Zuriel Sumudobla. So Joriel is really trying to find a way, pestering Joriel, or pestering the guys in front of him, trying to squeeze a position right there. Back now, or at least down the grid, we have the rest of the guys all spread out and trying to find their own pace right here. The battle, of course, if we go to look at the timing sheets or the timing numbers of the left side of your screen, the real close guys are the battles for second and third, and the battles including Terence Salyabi, who's now in fourth, just less than a second behind Luis Moreno. Mark Elman right now drifting his way into the grass. Oh boy,
no.
so trying to catch up with Voltaire Cycle right there, but Mark Elman, well, okay, he's just having fun now. Well, trying his best to get back into the track. So just, if you put in too much throttle there, you're just going to spin it, especially when you're on the grass.
That's right. So that was Mark Elman, and Mark is racing from Singapore.
You can see that online brings everyone into the racing world, and for sure, they're all going to be having fun right now here at the Phoenix Petroleum Formula V1 race. And Francis Angelo Gonzalez, number 12, chasing after Voltaire Psycho. So this is a very difficult race for those who are very close, but for those who are alone, like here, Francis, all he has to do is just to make it very consistent for him and keep the lap times really close. But now you can see the lap time of Gonzalez is down to 2:04s, quite a bit way off from the pole sitters and the guys in the lead, which are already doing 2-minute lap times here in Clark.
Okay,
Again,
so
we're back. Yep.
so real quickly, we're at the Clark International Speedway. It's a 4.2-kilometer circuit, and it has a. Is this a Grade 3 circuit, Miko? Grade 4 circuit.
Grade 4, I believe. We are allowed to have some minor formula events right here. And of course, Formula V1 is running here in Clark, and in car now with LJ Mutok, number 14. You see some damage in his car, and if you see the steering of LJ is really off. So with damage on, even in the virtual world, it's going to affect your lap times. LJ, of course, doing the VR goggles thing, just experiencing the full-on experience right there, and he lost it.
Oh,
well, okay, disconnected. That's it. So goodbye to our VR guy. But meanwhile, Russell Reyes, a class act right here on the 7th, the penultimate lap of this race, still leading with about already 6 or 5 seconds out of that the corkscrew right there, as Inigo Anton seems to have no answer to catch up with him, because of course Luis Moreno is just all over the back of him for the whole race. And now we're car with Gab Senyeves, number 10, being chased by Voltaire Psycho. So these guys are really still at it, not giving up, trying to get as many points as they can, try to finish in the right place, in the right spot of the standings.
Okay, so aside from our prizes per race, we also have the following prizes for the overall winners for the Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup Series. So the champion will receive a seat to do Formula V1 testing in real life.
Real life right there.
There you go.
Yeah, that's real life racing as well, JP. You see just an overtaking maneuver between Moreno and Inigo Anton.
So the action is still on at the front between Inigo and Luis for second place.
Yes, and
so
it's
interesting to note, Miko, that Luis and Inigo are actually carrying a lot more ballast than our race leader.
And that's one of the reasons why Russell is trying to, or at least having an easy time pulling away from these guys as well.
That's right. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, I can see Terence battling with Luis.
Right, and then that means Russell again just already in turn 1, as the guys are just reaching up to the start-finish line. So Russell Reyes, a very commanding and a very exacting race for him. No effort and no pressure really, because he's already pulled away. As Inigo Anton and Luis Moreno continue their battle right there, just behind Russell. So if you look back and just check on the times, are there half a second separating Inigo Anton and Luis Moreno now. So let's wait for them to come into the shot as Russell Reyes feathers his way through the hairpin very cleanly through, no problems at all. Just a very smooth and uneventful race for him. But Inigo Anton right now being chased still by Luis Moreno. There's going to be contact right here, just behind. You can see the rear view mirrors right there as Moreno closes in on the braking with Terence Salyabe in fourth. So a very hotly contested P2 position right here. Terence Salyabe in P4 in the championship, but he needs to finish first to fight for the overall champion still. So that's not going to be easy for him as this race wears on into the last lap, last few corners. And still Inigo Anton holding off our very own Luis Moreno. Very close right there at the exit. Of course, Inigo, all has to do is to keep on the racing line, make his way through, but finding an opening right there, Inigo shuts it off. So no passing for Luis Moreno right there at the sweeper, the right-hander sweeper. But for all intents and purposes, as Russell Reyes now reaches to the last corner and Luis Moreno just tails after Inigo Anton, we will have our race winner on the last lap to finish. Russell Reyes way ahead of the competition, about almost 6 seconds ahead, as Inigo Anton and Luis Moreno finally reach up to second and third. And Terence Salyabe couldn't do much, stays in fourth.
Okay, so super action-packed. And we have in P5 Estefano Rivera. And remember, this plays into the hands of some of the drivers as we do the reverse grid for race 6. So again, for race 6, we're going to have a reverse grid. So the guys that were in the back will now be in front. And that could totally change the game in terms of the strategy for the last race.
And you know, in previous races, JP, remember how the reverse grid really affected the championship in the final round, because the fast guys are already faster, but they still can't catch up with the guys ahead. So that's gonna really throw the strategies off right now in the coming to the last round.
For sure, because not only do we have the reverse grid and the points multiplier, we've also got that success ballast, which makes it harder for the faster guys to pull away.
That's right. And we're looking forward now for that final round. And for sure, as you finish, as you can see, let's recap the situation right now. The championship, or at least round 5, has been won by Russell Reyes, with Luis Moreno trailing after Inigo Anton second and third. So Inigo Anton and Luis Moreno, it was a good battle. Let's hear more from them as we get their interviews coming in.
Okay, but before we call them in, we want to quickly say that the fastest lap was done by Russell Reyes with a 1:59.255. And again, this is the Clark International Speedway. We want to thank our friends at the CIS circuit for supporting us over these years with the Formula V1 program. We also want to thank our friends from the US that have helped design this circuit. Teddy, thanks a lot for modding the Clark Speedway and allowing us to use it in our game this weekend and next weekend. Okay, so the prizes also for the champion of the Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup will get a actual test day in a Formula V1 car, a real Formula V1 car. So from a virtual world, he's going to get to drive a real Formula V1 car at the Clark circuit. That's crazy, right?
Right.
We're turning the virtual dreams into reality. And not only does he win a test, he also wins an OMP racing suit, OMP gloves, an LG TV, and 5,000 pesos worth of Phoenix Fuel GCs. Okay, so super exciting race. Congratulations to our Phoenix Pulse Racing team. Okay, in 15th place, we had Joaquin Garrido. Unfortunately, he had a DNF. He got disconnected from the race. But Russell Cabrera finished in 8th place, so a good finish for Russell. And of course, our fastest lap was Russell Reyes, who is our winner, and he did a 1:59.2. So again, a little bit quicker than the fastest time for the AM class, but not much quicker. These guys in the AM class are going to give these pro drivers a run for their money next year.
For sure. And it's not really the quickness that's very different now. It's just the amount of experience that they've hold us racing in international and in big events like this one. So, but the skill is just the same, almost the same. And I can see in the winners, our winners for the pro class, a commanding and a very masterful execution of racing for Russell Reyes of Sim Racing PH and Top Spec. So it's a very big gap for him. But the action in second place, we have Inigo Anton of the Avengers Racing Team being trailed by, in third place, Luis Moreno of the Legion of Racers. So they were at it the whole time.
Nice. All right, so let's invite these guys to come on in and let's do a quick interview. Welcome, you guys. Congratulations. Meeks, you have questions for these guys?
All right. Of course, let's start off with the race winner, Russell. Russell, how are you doing? It was a very big gap for you. And how do you manage to stay ahead of everyone else at this level?
I just drive at my own pace. Tsaka, yun. It worked out naman na, yun, I didn't make any mistakes. And just drove normally. That's all I can say.
Care to share some secrets? I noticed that you were taking the corners very smoothly, no mashing of the throttle, just smoothly through. Is that something that keeps you up ahead?
I can say that's one of the tricks that I did. Yung smooth throttle application para walang wheel spin, of course, tsaka yung ano rin, yung pag counter steer kasi yung kotse na yan medyo slidey talaga kaya kailangan maingat din talaga.
Yeah, very high level of skill for sure required to drive these Formula V1, even in the virtual world. Thank you very much and congratulations, Russell. In P2, the battle was between Inigo Anton and Luis Moreno. So you guys, let's start with Inigo first. You were leading Luis all the way until the checkered flag. How hard was it to fend off Luis?
Yeah, so just first of all, coming into this race, I was just since the season's coming into a close and it's the final championship rounds, I was just thinking of like my one goal is that just to try and beat Luis. Luis is such a quick guy, and I don't know how I managed to do it, but yeah, during the race, I got off to a good start, but he passed me at the start, and I knew that for the championship, I have to at least try and get ahead of him, and try and finish in this race. So just at the beginning, I just tried, and the pass worked because I knew also coming into this race I had more ballast, about 20 kilograms, and I could really feel the effect, and I just couldn't catch up with like Reyes and Luis. It was just very difficult, but the racing was super clean. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, just looking forward to the next round.
You're competing in the real world as well. So what do you think is any similarity or differences between virtual and the reality that you're used to?
Well, yeah, the transition from real life to sim hasn't been, that much of a hardship for me. It's very close to the real thing. It teaches you a lot, and I'm just with this sim races, I'm just always trying to learn more so that I can also really use it in real life. Because all the racing, even Clark, it's almost there. It's almost, and like I can learn a lot when I get to the real world as well.
All right, congratulations again, Inigo. Thank you for that wonderful race of holding off Luis. It gave us a lot of action. And Luis, now you're very much experienced. You compete around the world. You've shown me all the list of the races that you've won. How is it going against a real live racer like Inigo right here?
Sim esports leagues, and Inigo's growth in sim has been very good, and as the season progresses, he has been a very formidable opponent.
All right. And how is it driving the Formula V1 now compared to you joined the Super Cup earlier this year and now you're in Formula V1? So how is it different or how is it similar? Can you share with us?
It's a completely different. First of all, the Formula V1 is a lighter car, and it's a midship layout. So the engine is in the middle, so that changes the balance of the car, and you have to approach the corners differently. You can't brake in the same way as you would in a Supra, but still a very fun car to drive.
Okay, so what can we expect from you in the last race? I'm sure you're going to be going after for the points right now.
Yes, definitely, because finishing behind Inigo wouldn't exactly help in the drivers' championship for me. So I definitely have to bag some more points in the final race, and hopefully that would be beneficial for the drivers' championship on my end.
All right, congratulations, Luis, and congratulations to all the three of you. More racing to come in the next round.
Thank you.
All right, guys, congrats
Thank you.
and good luck in our final race at Clark International Speedway. Okay, the Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup wouldn't be possible without the help of our sponsors. Thank you. So Phoenix Petroleum Philippines, LG OLED TVs, Blue Chem, Bendix, PC Express, Family Mart, Top Tool, and OMP. And of course, our media partners, Autocar, Autodeal, C Magazine, Philippine Daily Inquirer. Woo! We have Inquirer Mobility, Time Attack Manila, and Wheels PH. And of course, our partner organizations, we want to thank AP, GT Philippines, SRPH, Ribbon Arc, and 7 Garage. Guys, thank you so very much for your unwavering support.
Thank you.
Okay, so race 5 of the Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup at the Clark Speedway ends here. I want to thank you guys for joining us today, and we hope to see you guys next week, December 19th, for our final race, race number 6. Remember, it's going to be at the Clark International Speedway, but with a reverse grid for the top drivers. So it's going to be super exciting. Who's going to be our Formula V1 virtual champion? We'll all find out together next week.
Right, and congratulations, of course, to all the winners this day. And the point system for round 3 will be double points. So please remind yourselves of that. Guys, this is your last chance to show off your racing skills. Since this will be a ×2 multiplier, there's a big chance to earn big points for the next round. So join the race by signing up on the link, and that we'll be providing that in the comment section below. And before we end this program, we are about to announce the 2 raffle winners of raffle items from Blue Chem, Parts Pro, and Bendix. So the raffle question was, what is the score multiplier for round 3? And the correct answer is ×2. So, and the winners for this raffle will be announced here on the Tuason Racing page. So keep an eye on that.
Okay, guys, so thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you next week, December 19th, for the last and final race, race number 6, round 3 of the Phoenix Pulse Formula V1 Virtual Cup at the Clark International Speedway. So again, we're going to find out who is going to be this year's champion and who will get to drive the actual Formula V1 car in the test day. Okay, so for those of you that want to donate to Mabuhay Deseret and to the affected areas or affected people by the recent typhoon, kindly send your donations to the bank account details flashed below. Okay, and for those of you that haven't signed up for the Formula V1 Fantasy League, you can also sign up and you can use your points as a donation. Okay, guys, so please don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter if you haven't already done so. We are at Tuason Racing. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is at Tuason Racing TV. And hit the notification bell to keep updated on our latest happenings. How about you, Meeks?
Yep. Aside from racing, of course, I do motoring stuff, and I do write for the Philippine Daily Inquirer. So keep an eye on the Mobility PH Facebook page and the Inquirer Mobility website, as well as my own personal Instagram account on Miko Mix David, which also have Twitter as well. So keep an eye on those accounts, and let's interact and let's talk about the motoring issues that we have now.
Okay, so there you go. So my name is JP Tuason, and this is
Miko David.
All right, see you guys and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
With your Phoenix RCBC Bank Card MasterCard, get 5% rebate when you gas up at select Phoenix gas stations. 5% discount on gasoline and diesel engine oils. Free towing and roadside assistance. Get rewards points for your shopping, dining, and other purchases. And exchange your rewards points for free flights, gift vouchers, or cash rebates. Get your own Phoenix RCBC Bank Card MasterCard to enjoy Pulse Racing perks and privileges. Apply now and receive 500 pesos worth of Phoenix Fuel as welcome gift.
Vibrant AI picture. Resonant AI sound. The wonder of LG OLED TV.